All right, welcome to the first episode of the death penalty, or as we like to call it, the DP. Prepare to catch a DP to your ears.
I came fucking prepped. Prelude, ready for that DP.
No, we decided to call it the death penalty, well, because it's going to have a focus on live music, so particularly a lot of it will be heavy music because that's what we're into. But also because we are so stupid that if you listen to us, you will go deaf.
Yeah, and not only deaf, but dumb. We're going to literally lower you to the lowest common denominator. You will come away from this possibly retarded. And there's your first trigger warning. Oh, fuck, it should have been before that. Fuck
I can't
yeah.
say retarded, man. It's 2000. I can't believe you would say X in current year.
Yeah, I'm still living in 2005. Fuck it.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of beers here.
Yeah, let's crack those.
It's going to be a bit of a theme every week. We're going to try and give out some decent beer recommendations.
But we're going to drink them first, and you're going to listen to us drink, and we'll tell you about it later. But they're looking pretty fucking tasty. So.
Yeah, so if you're interested, the beer we've got is a smoked honeycomb red ale by Rocky Ridge. It looks pretty damn delicious. Should be able to hear Josh pouring his right now. Yeah, crack that one open.
You can't really do anything like this without beers, so...
Definitely makes it a bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to enjoy these and we'll let you know how they go. Towards the middle of the show, we'll tell you whether they're dog shit or they're amazing. In the meantime, I thought we would start with just let you guys know a little bit about ourselves, what we do, what we want to do with the podcast, where we come from, all that kind of stuff. So I know you're from down southwest.
Busso, represent.
Busso.
Yeah.
The meth capital of the world, apparently, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, claiming that title. You know, I wear that like a badge, eh?
Yeah, so what did you, what got you into music down there? There's not a whole lot of musical opportunities down there. Your family musicians or?
Basically my Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. And if you'd all like to, no, I'm kidding.
If you'd like to donate to the Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ, please send us a photo of your credit card.
Well, basically, my first, if I can remember, my first musical memory, the moment I just fell in love with it, this will be a laugh actually. My uncle, he had this amazing, it's glorious beer, and he had this I think it was like a 1974 Fender Strat. It was in perfect condition. He'd got it for nothing back in the day, and I remember he actually let me play it one time. I think I was real young. I think I was in grade 3. I don't know how old you are.
Wow, that's pretty young.
But he put it, he sat there with it, and he taught me Achy Breaky Heart. Dead set. He had the sheet music, the actual book.
That's actually kind of creepy. It's an interesting way to start.
That shit was fresh back then, man. That was
It's an interesting way to tell a story. Yeah, so I had this weird uncle.
Yeah, he wasn't weird. Yeah, he was in the basement. I had this hot breath on the back of my neck. There was candles and shit. It was all dim lit.
He always picked me up in a van with no number plates. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, he is actually my uncle. I got to pay all my musical attributes to him. I was around instruments because of him. You know, he had an old organ there that we'd have a rip on every time. I never had a grandma. I had a grandma, but I never had a grandpa, and we'd only see them. But they were almost like our makeshift grandma and grandpa, my auntie and uncle, so we'd be there all the time. But yeah, and I sat there and I played this Billy Ray Cyrus song, and I just loved it, and I was always on to my mum, and then they got me a guitar, got me lessons, and I just always loved it. So
it's funny that
Billy Ray.
It's funny because when I was young, my parents always teased me about this. When I was young, that was my first favourite song. I used to bash around singing, "Don't Tell My Heart like, singing the wrong words. And
that fucking mullet as well. Like,
I had the mullet.
Did you?
Had the mullet. Yeah.
Like, you were like a mini Billy Ray, baby Billy. Fuck, that's awesome. That's
yeah, it's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you come up to Perth? How old were you when you moved up here?
When I was pretty much as soon as I turned 18, I got an apprenticeship up here, moved up, and I joined a band. I met a few dudes actually when I was out at the cot, which is like some of my really good friends today still, which is funny. Just met them at the cot because they were wearing, I think Walt was wearing a strung out shirt, and we just started talking. One of my mates introduced me to him because he'd chatted with him a couple of weeks before, and like literally we just ended up hanging out heaps, and then I ended up in that band and did some pretty cool stuff with that, and that sort of got me going in the Perth scene, and
yeah, it's kind of like a beacon when you go to public places and you see someone with like a metal shirt or something on. I remember when I was young, I was like that, spot the metal dude.
Yeah, it was, man, because you just know they're on that same wavelength.
Yeah, definitely. So you moved here pretty much for music. You just lined everything up to come here.
Yeah, well, it was that and partying. There wasn't much going on at that time besides the 5 o'clock sundowner. At the local pub, snag yourself a couple curry puffs and a few party pies or something at the pub.
I wouldn't trust those curry puffs. The only time I've ever gotten food poisoning was in Bustleton.
Really?
From the McDonald's there when I was on levers.
Oh, McDonald's, of course.
Double quarter pounder, smashed it down. As I was eating it, I was like, this fucking smells weird. Fucking not even 10 minutes later, I spewed it up. But it was like a horrific 10 minutes of like stomach pain and like sweating. And I was like, I think I'm actually going to die. This is how I die. In a pool of my own vomit and shit in a fucking hotel in Bustleton. Someone's going to think I'm a drug addict when they find my body.
You're actually... Well, you know what? From the news we saw this week, at least you'd still have all your fucking hair. A pool of your own spew, you ate enough fries to regrow some hair before you died.
Yeah, apparently there's an article on 9news.com. This is incredible journalism, by the way. An article on 9news.com pretty much says if you eat McDonald's fries, it'll stop you from losing your hair. So, you'll have hair, but you'll die of heart disease.
Yeah.
So I guess that's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, you look good when you're overweight and, from all that trans.
We didn't say it was it was only counting their hair on your head. Maybe you'll just be bald on top and you'll be fat, but your fat guts will be covered in hair.
Yeah, you just turn into Teen Wolf, but you're not a teen anymore. So
you'll be a hit down at the court. Couple big old bears.
I was hoping that if I ate enough of those sriracha peas, I'd just grow a huge beard.
Oh, man. If you like sriracha and you've never had sriracha garlic peas, where did you get those?
The local Asian deli. You just walk in there and it's just a wonderland of random shit, and it's a lucky dip.
Yeah.
Like, I bought these other things, like durian fruit cakes, and they're fucking disgusting.
Yeah, durian fruit is horrendous. Have you ever smelled durian fruit?
Oh, it tastes, it smells like arsehole, yeah.
I went to Hanoi, which is the capital in the north of Vietnam. We started in Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, whatever you want to call it, the south and went up. And when we got to Hanoi, I'm pretty sure it was Hanoi. I've forgotten now. Pretty sure it's Hanoi. And we got off the plane immediately. The whole time we were there, that's all you could smell. These fucking durian fruits. And like people were just fanging around with bikes just stacked like sky high with durian fruit on the back. It must have been like just gone into season as we got there, but it smelled like people were walking around with dead bodies. It's just it's horrific.
Yeah, it is pretty hard. When we did that we did that small tour in Southeast Asia. A couple of the boys who were taking us around, he's like, have you ever tried durian fruit? And he's like, yeah, they were all laughing, but they love it, man. But I actually did like it. Like,
yeah, it does taste good. It's like custody.
Yeah, it's like nice. You're like literally when you're about to sink your teeth into it, you're like, I'm sinking my teeth into a dog's asshole right now. It's a
dog's asshole might be less stinky, to be honest.
But yeah, and then you have it. You're like, oh yeah, it's not bad. Like, yeah,
yeah. So you're from down south, Bustleton boy.
Yeah, and you, man. Like, so music. Over to you. Where are you from? Like,
so I grew up in the other actual asshole of the world. So if you look on a map, you'll find in Australia, about 6 hours east of Bustleton, you'll see a small dot, and if you get both hands and spread that arsehole
peel
open
that
a bit,
peach.
You'll see just inside the arsehole, you'll find Kalgoorlie. Just inside the arsehole.
And also, you're forgetting to mention that they're the crown. They've taken the crown.
That's
They've
right.
dethroned Bustleton and taken the meth capital crown.
That's right. Represent.
Yeah.
The Kalgoorlie is now the meth capital of the world.
So we're not only connected through Billy Ray Cyrus, it's also meth capitals.
But considering where we came from, Billy Ray Cyrus, the meth capitals of the world, we've done all right.
Mullets,
we should be homeless or dead by now.
Or at least be missing our front teeth. At least that.
Nah, or got all my teeth.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I grew up in Kalgoorlie. It's if you're into music, like honestly, if you're into anything that's not getting an apprenticeship and becoming a tradie, it's not a good place to live.
So basically, interested in being something other than Mike Nolan.
Yeah. If you don't know what Mike Nolan is, YouTube it right now. It's like an Australian cartoon parody of tradies.
Pause this and go on YouTube.
Oh my god, it's the best. But it's funny because it's so accurate, and like growing up in a place like Kalgoorlie, which is a mining town, literally is built on top of a gold mine. Those kinds of people are just everywhere. I had long hair because I was into music and shit, and you know everyone kind of goes through a phase when they're younger when they have long hair.
Yeah.
So I had long hair, and I got into fights because I had long hair. People just would try and fight me at the pub because I had long hair.
That's that classic small town mentality.
Yeah,
hey?
And I was just like, there's no music here. There's no like opportunities. I had some guys in high school that I played in a band with. We just did like Metallica covers and had a few original songs, but nothing crazy. And then once I'd left, and you know, once you leave high school, you don't really have any avenue to like meet new people. It was just nothing there, and sort of like asked the pubs and shit, and they actually told me that the cover bands, they had one cover band a week on Fridays at this one pub. That cover band actually drove down from Perth. So there's just nothing there.
Man, every week.
Yeah, the same one every week.
That's dedication. They must have been getting paid well in stripper money.
They must have been. I think as it went on a bit, there was a cover band that came along and started playing. But yeah, it was a local one. But yeah, it was pretty dismal. So I think when I was worked for my dad until I was about 19, saved up some money and got the fuck out of there as soon as I could afford it. Yeah. Just came up here, just a bit. It's like Perth is the land of opportunity for anyone who's interested in music who lives in that country WA.
It's like that though, you know, because there is absolutely no opportunity down there. Like Bustleton never got any shows. Like there was, I could count on one hand in my whole childhood the actual like proper, besides the Battle of the Bands, you know, the actual proper shows we had down there, which you know. And they didn't really have venues. It was always in Bunbury, or it was always in Margaret River. So
they're pretty close.
Yeah, but when you're a kid and you don't drive, anywhere that you can't ride your skateboard to is too far away.
That's true.
So
yeah, well for us it was Perth, which is 6 hours away. So it was a bit of a hoof.
Yeah, that's it. That's even worse.
Yeah, but I was like, I started getting into music because my parents bought me a classical guitar, I guess, a little nylon string when I was about 10, and I had some lessons with this chick, and she taught me like the Simpsons theme song and Waltzing Matilda, which for some reason I still remember how to play Waltzing Matilda, but only for a couple of months, and then she left, and she was kind of the only teacher there, and so I just kind of gave up, and then I don't know, maybe I was 15 or so, I started getting back into it because I was listening to shit like the Chili Peppers, and I bought a tab book back when tab books were a thing. And like this was before the internet too, so you couldn't just like hear a song and be like, I want to learn that and get online. And like we had the internet, but tab sites were not really non-existent at the time. So yeah, I got this tab book, and I remember I learnt the solo to Californication and played it to my friends at a party that I had at my house, and like everyone's freaking out like, oh my god, that's amazing. And I was like, good. This is how I get people to like me.
The king of Kalgoorlie. Yeah.
This is how I get people to like me. So, and yeah, had this acoustic, and my dad is like, I was trying to nag my dad for an electric guitar, you know, because acoustic's a bit hard to, you can't even get past the 12th fret, like it wasn't a cutaway acoustic or anything.
For sure.
And he's like, you can have a fucking electric guitar when you can play Stairway to Heaven from start to finish. And I was like, all right. So I figured it out. I learned this song. I found a tab for it online somewhere. Actually, it was a notepad file. Had to like reformat it. It was all fucked up when I opened it. But I'd got through it. It turned out to be the live version too, so it was even harder. But I fucking learnt this song, and like 4 days later, I whipped it out and showed him, and he was like, you little bastard. And then he went and bought me an electric guitar. He was a man of his word.
Yeah.
It was just a cheap, shitty one, a little amp. The amp was so shitty, if you turned it up past like 10% volume, it had natural distortion.
Was it like, I've probably discussed this before, was a PV Rage ever?
It wasn't. I don't actually recall. I have a feeling it was a Johnson amp, because it was a Johnson guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a Fender copy, you know, like a Strat copy. So I'm pretty sure it was a Johnson amp, but it was horrific. It sounded like fucking dog shit. I actually wish I still had it, so I could use the sound of that amp to argue against people who tell me Axe effects sound like shit. People who are like, no, real amps will always sound better than Axe effects. Be like, really? Are you sure?
Well, I still got my PV Rage like dead set down in storage, so if we ever had that argument, we'll just be like, let me go to my storage room, my sir, and I'll prove to you.
Yeah, heaps of people have those PV Rages. I've heard that story a few times from different people.
Yeah, we've also talked about one day doing a gig maybe, and just we'll have an Axe effects behind, but we'll have just a wall of PV Rages, maybe about 1,000 of them.
1 or 1,000, it sounds like a fucking herd of angry bees either way. Not in a good way either, just dog shit.
It is, yeah, and you know, like you thought that the PV Rage, like, takes the cake for the worst sounding amp around, but I had a PV Studio Pro after that, and you thought the Rage sounded, it's like they got that and then filtered it through a dog's arsehole again, and then harnessed that sound, and there you have the Studio Pro.
How did you not learn your lesson off the Rage? Like, just steer clear of PV.
I think I was like, I was year 10. I wasn't.
Just no idea.
Yeah, I must have been 15 or something when I bought that.
It wasn't a huge amount of like internet knowledge back then. Like I was saying before, yeah, you couldn't just like look it up and find 1,000 YouTube reviews of what it sounds like either.
Yeah, and all I needed to see was a three distortion channel, and I was just like, oh, it's got modern vintage.
Oh, sick. That's my first. The first stack I ever bought was a Line 6 Spider 2.
Yeah,
and that had the same thing.
What was the dirty channel called? It was
there was Crunch. I forget what the middle one was.
It was
called.
Like Extreme. Something.
It was called Insane.
Insane.
Level 3 was called Insane.
You just flick it on and then you go insane because it sounds so bad. You wind up in an asylum.
Considering how old they were, because they were all solid state, they actually had some decent sounds.
Yeah.
You're talking about like probably 14 years ago I had that. And I didn't have it when it came out, so it's probably even older than that. So like the clean tones you could get out of it weren't bad, you know. For someone who sits in a bedroom to have access to like those tones and stuff for that price is pretty decent.
Oh, they weren't
people
bad.
People shit on Line 6 a lot, but you know, for like mid-road, bang for buck kind of thing, they're pretty
for
good.
A practice amp too, you know, because you can actually, you don't have to crank it to get some kind of tone out of it.
And just to be able to have like access to, you know, like delay, reverb, phaser and shit on your amp, you don't have to fork out for fucking 80 pedals. You don't want to do that shit when you're just sitting in your bedroom.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Line 6 gets a lot of hate. Little less hate now with the success of the Helix, I think.
Yeah, it's sounding good, hey.
The old Axe Effects 3 dropped last week, And the old look of it's definitely got some Helix features in it.
Yeah, they've done well with that. That looks so good.
Looks very nice. It doesn't look like a piece of arcane guitar gear anymore. It looks like a beautiful tool now. It's quite
like nice. The Axe FX2 with the Atari screen. Just Commodore 64.
Every patch is just Space Invaders on the fucking green LED.
Pretty much,
horrendous,
Yeah. Yeah, and as soon as you see that new one, you're just like, well, this thing's going off the fucking balcony. then you're like, nah, I can't afford another one though.
Yeah, you want to throw it and then you remember how much it costs you? Nah. But yeah, so we've both been in quite a few bands.
So what was your first band and second band?
Well, I've been in, I think, 4 or 5 now. My very first band ever was, as I said before, a high school band.
Yeah.
But we had a MySpace page with a couple of original songs up on it
that
I wrote.
Fuck, MySpace wasn't around when I was in high school.
Yeah, no, you missed that by a little bit,
Yeah.
By like 2 years. Yeah, so we had a MySpace, and man, we went to Kmart and I bought these. I think I had 3 $10 Kmart mics, and we mic'd up a drum kit with them, and I had them going just into the microphone input on a laptop with a 3-way splitter. Plugged it in. That's how we tracked drums. And like, honestly, it didn't sound that bad. Because you're hearing that and you're like, man, that must have been horrendous. It wasn't that bad somehow. But yeah, so that band was called Tempura, which is a terrible name. Because
sounds like Japanese
tempura.
Like fried prawns
sounds like
or something.
Tempura. It was because we were all pretty balls deep in Pantera back then when we were kids.
And sushi.
Yeah, balls deep in sushi.
Pantera and sushi. You know how it is, guys.
Panthers and raw fish. Yeah, but there's a Pantera home video. One guy like goes up to him and he's like, "Hey, you're that metal band Tempura," and we were like, "We'll just call ourselves that."
Oh, that's actually pretty good. I remember that that Pantera video.
The home videos.
Yeah, remember how they're like smashing like cinder blocks with sledgehammers just to be rebellious. I was like, only that band could be badass by hitting a cinder block.
Well, that made it into the 5 Minutes Alone clip. I think that's what that was for.
Yeah. And they were pretty loose back in the day.
Oh yeah, that was no other band's really done that either. The home videos they did, the way it was like totally uncut. It was just like all behind the scenes, just them fucking off being assholes.
And then that little introduction, how they're like, "There's gonna be no nudity," and then
and
you just chicks their tits out, and then no swearing. Fucking hostile.
Yeah, that's fucking great. That's a classic. But yeah, so it was Tempura in high school, pure dog shit. Our singer couldn't even really sing. We just fucked around, basically.
I don't think anyone's high school band singer could sing, really.
Well, we were doing like Metallica and Iron Maiden covers and shit. And then moved to Perth. I was briefly in a band called In Fury. I actually was at the Rocket Room back in the day when the Rocket Room was a big thing.
Yeah, that was Jake's. Jake was in that band too.
Yeah, so Jake is a friend we have from a band called At Depths, who are fucking sick. Check them out on Facebook if you haven't.
Yeah, the guitarists are absolute lords.
Yeah, it's like progressive metalcore, sort of genty a little bit, but it's really cool stuff. But yeah, so I was at the Rocket Room and this dude comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, we're looking for a bass player for our band." He whips out a demo out of his pocket. He's got a CD, gives it to me. He gives me his phone number. And that was Rowan. That's how I met Rowan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how I met Rowan. Rowan's a really close friend of mine. We're still good mates. He's like a brother to me. I played with him. So I go to this, he gives me this fucking demo, and I go to this little shitty jam room they've built. It's just like carpet everywhere, and there's all graffiti on the walls, and we didn't have a drummer, and then we put a flyer up, and then Jake answered the flyer, so that's how I met Jake too. And so we fucked around in that band for a bit, and then everyone kind of drifted apart. Some of the members just weren't into it anymore, and me and Rowan decided, fuck, I'll jump on guitar, and we'll make another band, and that's how we made Reflections of Ruin.
Yeah,
which we put
great band.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into. I really liked playing that band. That unfortunately came to an end. I think it was about 5 years we did that. But we had some great times. We played with main support for All Shall Perish, which was really cool. They were one of my favourite bands when I was younger. We supported In Heart's Wake, North Lane, Make Them Suffer. So it had a few good times. Did 2 EPs. Then I left that band when that broke up. Had a bit of time off with music. I just felt a little bit disheartened. I guess. I don't know. I was young and I was like, I put all this work in. It should have, it should have gone. It doesn't work.
I think that's a big problem though with a lot of young bands. Don't stick it out because they get disheartened. When they, there's a bump in the road or things don't, they release something and it doesn't get the attention they thought. It's easy to get disheartened. As you're older, you tend to stick things out more because you've been through more shit. But
yeah, I think it's a bit of you feel like you deserve it, a little bit of entitlement.
Yeah,
when you're
definitely.
younger, I did all the right thing. But it doesn't work like that. You do all the right things and still lose. It's a good life lesson,
Well, you have no idea when you're that age too. You haven't really been in the workforce. You haven't experienced too much,
Yeah. Oh, there's heaps of shit. Siri thinks that workforce is her name, apparently.
Yeah. Thanks, Siri, for ruining it.
Yeah, so, probably didn't play for 18 months, and then these two guys I know, Matt Unkovic and Illyria Stajic, who Matt plays for Statues now. He's a fucking incredible
I think Matt plays for half the bands in Perth. Seems like that sometimes.
At the same time, because that's how good he is.
Yeah, he is incredible.
He actually
kid
is
prodigy
amazing.
of drumming, isn't he?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. And Ilya is an amazing guitar player too and a really good vocalist. They're in a band together called Illyria, which is post-black metal.
I really rate them.
I think they're
I actually
great.
gave that their first album. I've listened to that a lot.
Yeah, I wasn't huge on that first album. I guess it just didn't really click with me because I've never really been into black metal.
Nor have I. But I thought that, to me it was something a bit new. I hadn't really listened to much melodic black metal or whatever that crossover is, but
it's like post rock black metal.
But to me, I was like, that's fun. That song "Cold Summer" was a banger.
Yeah,
I thought
that is a good song.
Yeah, but there was a lot of good songs on that, and I thought they did really well. I thought that should have, should have got more, and it probably will. As they release more stuff, people will back catalogue them because that is a solid album, and will always. You go and look that up in 10 years, and that'll be a solid effort. It's not gonna. I don't think that'll date.
No, I don't think so either. It's full of original ideas. It's not following trends or anything. It's stands on its own 2 feet. It was I think they released a single called Swan Song, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it was, as I was listening to that, it was all these blocks in my head fell into place, and I just loved it immediately after that. Yeah. But yeah, so I played with them in a band called Novaki, which was deathcore, but borderline tech death. It was really techy, and that didn't the lead guitarist, the guy who was writing a lot of the music, he basically he'd never had a girlfriend, and he met this girl and they moved in together, and he decided that he would just put his guitars down forever.
See ya.
Yeah, it was a real shame because he had whatever the hell people call it, he had it. He was an incredible guitar player.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, hey? So often people like that just take it for granted. It's
because
just give me some of it. What do you give me 10% of that and I'll be fucking sweet,
Just drain 100 mils of blood and shelf it and just get some of his skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because I was talking about this with someone else actually. I think it's because when you're really good at shit naturally, it's easy for you.
Yeah, it's not a challenge.
You just have no context of how hard it is for some people. Some people just pick guitar up and they're 6 months in, they're shredders.
Yeah.
A shitty example because he's not a shredder, but the lead singer from The Darkness, he'd only been playing for 12 months when they released their first album. He just picked it up and he was like, I'm a guitar player now, I'm going to make this work.
Did he play guitar?
Yeah,
I saw them once. I can't remember him playing guitar. I saw him at Big Day Out.
Yeah? Was it terrible?
No, man, I actually enjoyed it. The cunt's pants were that tight. It was just ridiculous. I was like, no wonder he can sing that high. Hey, his balls are just getting squeezed.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, he smashes them high notes.
No, it was fun, man. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I was big into him in high school. I liked their stuff.
Yeah.
They always seem like kind of a joke, but then like, I don't know. They would do ridiculous shit, and then the next song would be like a legitimately really fucking good song. You're like, you're giving me mixed signals here.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I just thought of is that that your last show, you were meant to play like one last show. It was an all ages gig down at the HQ, and
with Novaki.
Yeah, with Novaki, we were playing it with you guys before you were in our band, like years before, and you pulled out because that was when you bailed, and then Havoc replaced you.
Ah, no shit. There you go. Small world.
Yeah, but I didn't know Havoc boys. I didn't know you. Oh no, I'd met you like once or twice, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Just sort of briefly. Yeah. So after I left Novaki, I started going to uni, and I had probably another year between bands, and it was just a coincidence. Josh's band was looking for a bass player, and I was like, I wanted to be involved in music, but I didn't want to be the main guy doing all the shit because I was at uni, and I thought, you know, bass would be cool, something different, it'd be a little bit more relaxed. So yeah, I hit him up, and then joined The Light the Dark, which is, I'm the bass player for The Light the Dark. Josh does clean vocals and plays guitar, and that's where we're at now. So how did you get here? What bands were you in?
Like as I was saying, the one I joined, well, I had a high school band too, actually, with my two brothers, Mick and Lindsay.
Lindsay's in a band called Them Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a ska band.
Yeah, surf punk, ska sort of.
Yeah, check them out. They're pretty cool. Seen them live a few times. It's a cool vibe.
Yeah, sort of in vein of Sublime. Yeah, you know, that sort of stuff. I had obviously, you know, high school bands. It was the same standard high school shit. Like used to actually, I remember in high school we I think it was in grade 10 or something. We did we were doing music. And I just remember like a few lessons, we just go and set up drum kits, and like we'd set up everything we could find, every cymbal. We'd set up 2 drums and have just drum wars, me and my mate Isaac. And I remember we just get that excited, it turned into us standing across the other side of the room, throwing sticks at the cymbals and just throwing shit at them.
Fucking shitlords.
Yeah. And also, like, our school never had any guitars. They had bass guitars, they had drums, they had everything. They never had guitars. I was like, I always play guitars. And I was like, why the fuck don't you have guitars? That's the one thing you would have before anything, you know?
Well, but
it didn't work for the big band. That's why, you know. It's
because the guitar is the instrument of the devil. That's how you make heavy metal and hard rock, and that's how you worship Satan. So
that's right. Yeah,
you got to be careful there. You got to be real careful.
Yeah. That's it. I think. I actually like the devil though.
I was going to say, for those listening, Josh was actually raised as a Mormon.
No, not a Mormon. I was raised as a Jehovah's
Witness. So he's got a pretty interesting background with religion.
Yeah. Obviously, clearly not religious anymore because came to my senses and science, you know? Science, bitch. Well, how could you deny it? But that's for another day, that one. Don't get me going on that. I'll go off.
Yeah, we don't have 3 days.
Yeah,
my laptop hard drive.
Everyone will just be like, I'll just skip another 3 hours ahead and come back. Maybe I'll go and watch that Mike Nolan video.
Definitely watch Mike Nolan if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So, after that.
Yeah, so I joined Restless Words. We were like, that was the same. I met these boys, ended up playing bass in that band. And that was pretty good, you know, like we had a few, that was so long ago. It was like 2003, I think.
Yeah, wow.
It would have been 2004, I think I joined. I was 18 anyway when I joined.
That's like 43 years ago when you were 18, right?
Shit. Yeah. I'm an old cunt. I'm not actually an old cunt. I'm just older than Zane by about 20 minutes. And,
yeah. No, I think you're 2 years older than me. Maybe 3.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 12.
12. Oh,
yeah.
That's hot.
Mm.
Yeah, so Restless Words.
I thought you'd like that.
Restless Words, that was a punk band.
Yeah, it was like it was like melodic hardcore, like sort of maybe in vein of bands like Comeback Kid and Thrice. Maybe I'd say those had that sort of sound. Those two mix. They were big influences on the band. Bit of strung out in there, but that went well. Like we won Triple J on Earth in like 2005 and got to play a few cool shows. Like we played Taste of Chaos back at the Burswood Dome when that was still a thing.
Yeah, nice.
Which is pretty cool. That's like one of my memorable moments of my life. Like I think I was like an 18-year-old kid running up onto a big stage, you know, like in front of 6,000 people. I don't think I've had that much adrenaline pumping.
That's a lot of fucking people to play in front of, man.
Yeah. And it was a good time. It was like
6,000 sounds like such a small number in the world we live in, where like you're scrolling Facebook and you're like, oh, this video has 2 million views.
Yeah.
But if you think about 6,000 fucking people in one room, that's a shitload of people.
Yeah, I couldn't see anyone. And that was the first gig we played too, like that people, you know, were singing along some of our songs. That was my first experience with that, you know. We started playing, cool, and looked out and people were singing along and I was like, holy shit, you know, like that was like such a cool experience. And it went on from then, and like I stayed in the band for a bit. And I suppose I was with a girl at that time, and it was cunts fucked. But anyway, we broke up, and I ended up leaving the band, and going to Canada for a while just to live, because I had a friend from Canada. So I ended up leaving. The last show was we played was No Effects at the
pretty nice support.
Yeah, it was sick. It was at the I can't think of it, Metro City.
Oh, okay. In Perth City, not the Freo one.
Yeah, the Perth one, and
that was big in there too.
That was insane. That venue's just amazing. That was like crazy. That I think it was 2007. That gig, that like end of 2007, somewhere around then. And then I moved to Canada for ages, and I never stopped playing music. I played a lot of acoustic stuff, but you know I lived over there for ages, and then came back, moved to Sydney for a bit, and then came back. When I moved back here, I was back here for a while and ended up starting the band just with Mick, my brother. But it wasn't
starting The Light the Dark.
The Light the Dark, yeah.
Which was Medicine at this point.
Yeah, and it was never anything serious at that time. We were just like, we actually started out, we were like, let's start in just a melodic hardcore band. Let's start like a hardcore band, have some punk rock choruses, and that was the idea. And just for some fun, and hit my mate Cookie up, because me and him have been talking about jamming for like 10 years when we get drunk at parties, and it never happened. We're like, we should book a room, we should do this. Never happened.
Yeah,
and then
everyone
when it did,
has a friend like that.
Yeah, it's just always like that. Hey, but then when we actually did jam, it was sick. It was just a good time. We got Sammy in, which is our guitarist now. Sammy was one of our friend's brothers, the younger brother. He was quite young at the time too. He was a young boy at the time.
Still a young boy.
Yeah. So we got him in, and then had a few lineup changes and pretty much been in that band since. And you joined, and now we're sort of on track for our sophomore album. Really, like, it's quite a bit different to the first thing we released, but
it's sort of like the album that you guys did originally under the Medicine title was it's like heavy pop punk hardcore. I don't know, it's like almost metalcore, but not quite.
Yeah, it's strange. It was
too heavy for punk, but it's too soft for metalcore.
Yeah, so it was always somewhere in between.
Yeah, it was. I remember you telling me it was a nightmare trying to get shows because you couldn't fit in with punk shows, and the metal crowd was like, "What is this fucking shit.
Yeah, because we wanted to play like heavier shows, with heavier bands, but it was so hard because of that. And we played the punk shows, and they were all fun and that, but a lot of people were like, oh, they don't like, because I think because it was like melodic hardcore, but it had metal vocals,
Yeah.
Like it had proper metalcore vocals, so it was kind of random like that.
It's a very metalcore, typically metalcore to have like those heavy vocals and then the clean choruses like you guys did.
Yeah.
Especially the way that you like wrote them, they're like those really catchy poppy choruses.
Yeah.
Very metalcore-y. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's just lacking like breakdowns, I guess. That's probably the biggest. It's probably what the metal dudes were like, what is this shit?
Well, that's what me and Mick always wanted, breakdowns. So, and we always had a bit of a battle in the band, to get that. And and also it's all just the hiccups, because it never started out to be a serious thing, and then it turned into it a bit, and we started putting a bit of effort into it. We did oh, Siri.
Fucking Siri strikes again. Overzealous, mate.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
We'll just keep quiet then. Yeah. She's ruined me banging on. So,
yeah. So you've only been in a couple bands, then 3 all up. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was other things here and there that never really, and I filled in for other people over the years, but I never, I was in a couple in high school and that, but
yeah, right.
They all blend into one, really, don't they?
Around a little bit, yeah.
So, but yeah, I had that big time off from music, and it was funny, like, I'd go to, when I was living in Vancouver or Edmonton or whatever. At the time, whenever I go to shows, it's just different. I was always wanted to be up there. There was just that part of me that's never fulfilled. I'd always want to be up there. It's never.
Yeah, it's like a bug. You go up there once,
and
then it's almost like tattoos. You get one tattoo, and you're like, no, I'm just getting one, and then you get it, and then you're like, I need 50.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's like you'd go up there on stage once, and you're like, I need to get up immediately again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe it's an ego thing, everybody look at me.
Yeah. It's strange. It's because, like, there's no feeling like being on stage and feeding off that crowd's energy, and when people are into it. And, you work so fucking hard all the time, writing. It's like now, we've been writing this album for, like, a long time now, and we've had a lot of ups and downs and that. We're finally on track now. It's coming together, we believe, and it's sounding, like, in my opinion, it's sounding fucking huge. It's gonna, I think it's gonna, people are gonna like it. It'll blow people away probably from what they're expecting from us.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot heavier.
Yeah, it's a big change, that's for sure.
But yeah, it's like there's nothing like that feeling, and it will never leave you. If you leave music for 10 years, it will never fucking leave it.
Nah, it doesn't. It goes back to what you were saying before, like the first time you went out and people were singing your lyrics and stuff. That's like there's getting up and playing in front of people and people jump around and it's like, fuck yeah, these people like our music. That's really cool. You feel amazing because, like, I don't know how other people feel, but I always just feel like a dumbass with a guitar. And when anyone likes what I do, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's strange when people actually like it.
But like when you get up and you're, especially with heavier music where you don't have clean vocals and repetition and stuff in your music, like pop songs, you get up on stage and people are like doing mic grabs, they know the words, and like there's one part of an old Reflection song where it's there's tapping over a breakdown at the end of the song, and I wrote that bit, so I always played the tapping, and people knew it was coming, and they would come up and they would like do spirit fingers to my guitar as the tapping was going. I was like, what the fuck? I remember writing this when I was hungover sitting in the bathtub, and now we're here and you guys are freaking out about it. It's a surreal feeling that you just don't get anything. Nothing comes close to that.
No,
feeling.
It doesn't. Like there is nothing. Hey, it's that one thing. Nothing else gives you that. It's like the best high you could ever experience.
You just feel like your legs stop working. You're just floating around for a few days.
Yeah, kind of like when you're on Molly, but like better. Molly's a good feeling.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's an illegal drug, sir.
Oh, okay.
I would never do illegal things.
That's a second trigger.
It's illegal in Australia.
But yeah, like we should touch on that, what we've been doing though. So we gloss. So we have an album. Basically, we've got all the demos pretty much done. We've got to do vocals, work a few kinks out.
It's 95% written.
Yeah. And we just tracked the first single. We just got to track the vocals for that.
Doesn't have a name yet. It's got one of those ridiculous working title band names. Actually, this one's pretty sensible. But yeah, it doesn't have a name yet. But I actually did name it,
and I have been dismissed several times.
By who?
What? By everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you told me them once, and I said they were shit, but I was only kidding.
No, you were like, that's too long. But I'll get my way.
Well, we're gonna have to fight about it.
Yeah, okay.
I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Send it to me again.
Yeah.
I'll actually listen this time.
So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're doing a video soon for that. We'll have 2 singles before, but we're hoping to be looking towards the end of the year to have this out.
Well, hopefully a lot before. It just depends on a few things. Josh just got some bad news about his vocals. He's been having throat trouble for a while, and specialists pretty much penetrated him with a big camera.
Fuck, I should have never turned my back on the Lord.
That's what you get when you worship Satan. So he's checked him out, got some bad news. He's got a polyp on one of his vocal cords, and he's got to have his tonsils out. So it's a bit of
my nose broken.
Yeah, broken and reset.
And realigned. I didn't even know my nose was broken, so that was a nice little surprise. When the doctor gives you that look and is like, cunt, what have you been doing? what is wrong with you? And this is all like, pre-existing probably for the last decade. I put up with this. I didn't really twig. I thought I had just a sinus issue. And you get used to stuff and you don't really think about it, so...
Yeah, so there's a few hurdles like that. That's a big one because obviously if Josh can't sing, we can't finish the songs. There's a few things.
I'll get it done.
We're hoping that it'll be finished recording before the mid-year, and it'll be out this year. It'll definitely be out this year. It's just a matter of when. Yeah, it's pretty exciting because anyone who's heard the Light the Dark's previous stuff, as we were talking about, is a kind of like melodic hardcore-y, and then there was a single that came out a year ago called Bone Meadow, which was getting more towards the metalcore side of stuff, a couple breakdowns, a few more like riffs instead of the hardcore strumming and stuff, but again, this is even further removed from what Bone Meadow was. I think it's a huge progression for the band. I think it's a lot, like it's a step in a good way, and I really believe in what we've done, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, same. We've dropped tuning as well because I didn't know at the time. My top range is just gone, see ya.
Yeah.
So we dropped tuning, and we're like, F is quite a nice tuning anyway for me to sing in.
Sounds sick.
You've always,
so heavy. Sounds so good.
Yeah,
it's heavy, but it's still got that nice twang to it. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
so we're all on everyone's on 7 strings now, so yeah.
Yeah, so we're almost a new band. There's a lot of changes that we'll be announcing probably in the coming months, and we'll be dropping a few little snippets and a few little hints, so get stoked on it. I think it'll surprise everyone.
Yes, so check out the page, the Light the Dark page if you want.
And if it doesn't surprise you, you've been watching us in the shower. You've been stalking.
Yeah, but that's kind of why we wanted to do this podcast anyway. It was we've been in bands and started from nothing in bands and stuff, like especially both having moved here from other towns. You don't know anybody, you don't even know who to talk to when you've got a set ready. Like, okay, who the fuck do we talk to? How do we get a show? Or it's difficult. So we wanted to do something where we could have fun. Obviously, we want this to be fun, and B, just get involved in the music scene. So what we're going to try and bring, local bands, people from local bands, at least twice a month, depending on people's availability, obviously.
Yeah.
And just get people involved so they can hear about bands that otherwise wouldn't get exposure. And instead of reading like some weird interview in a magazine or a website, and it's just, you know, the same questions every week. It's very cookie cutter and very PC and stick to the script kind of shit. We just thought we would sit down and talk to these people and find out who they are and, you know, how they do shit. And I think it's a, you know, if you're into podcasting, I think that's what this medium's great for, and I think it'll be really good for the scene.
Yeah, it is, and we're not necessarily, you know, it's not necessarily always going to be music conversation. Like, our idea was, you know, we talked about that, to probably just have a normal conversation about anything, like, and so the listeners can get to know the people in the bands, you know, get to know a bit of just about anything, just have a conversation.
Yeah,
and you know, maybe it will be about music, maybe there'll be episodes where it's just we don't talk about it at all, we just talk about bullshit, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll default back to music, you know, and if we have bands on that, you know, like prog bands and stuff, we realize that, you know, technical bands, a lot of their fans are gear nerds and they want to know, you know, how they do things. So we'll cover some of that stuff too, but there's essentially just going to be ridiculous conversations where we talk shit to each other, and you'll get to know some of the people from the local scene that make Perth music scene so great.
Yeah.
So now that that's out of the way, what did you think of that beer?
Well, before we do this, I'm gonna have a piss.
No, you can't.
Okay, can't.
Take the microphone so I can hear your hot piss.
You want to hear that fucking stream? You want to hear the sheer power of my stream, eh?
Alrighty, we're back from a hot piss. Got close enough for it to be uncomfortable in there.
Yeah.
We made it through.
We scissored.
We actually just finished our first beer, as we mentioned earlier. Was a Crimson Smoked Honeycomb Red Ale.
By Rocky Ridge Brewing down in, Busselton, supposedly, Margaret River, wherever it's from.
Yeah, it says here it's in collaboration with Burnt End Smoking Co. So, I got to say, when you said you had a honeycomb beer, I was skeptical. I had skeptical hippo eyes.
Yeah.
However, this is really good. It doesn't really taste like honey. You kind of swallow it. A few seconds there, you get a very tiny hint of honey.
Yeah, it's a little aftertaste there, right?
Yeah, but I think what the honey does is it gives the beer a really smooth consistency. It's a little bit like sticky smooth as you swallow it. It feels a little bit thicker than normal. It's phenomenal. It's so good.
It is, hey, and it's that their flavors are really subtle in this. You know, that smoky flavor, that honeycomb flavor. Yeah. It's just subtle in that aftertaste. Like, it's done so fucking well. Rocky Ridge Brewing, I cannot stress enough how fucking good their beers are. Like, I think that they're one of the best in Australia. You know, like, we just cracked another one, the Sour Buffalo.
Yeah, so once we finish that, we'll get into that too. But yeah, like, these guys are like balls deep in like local produce. They grow everything they put in. They're like into cans because they're greener and lighter and fresher on the beer, and they just, like, if you read the back of this can, you can tell these guys really love beer, and they're just making beer for themselves. Really, they're like, hey, what if we put honey in a beer? And then they do it, and it turns out amazing.
And they're just on point. Hey, like, I think they're on par with, you know, some of the breweries coming out of the States. So, like, they're just up there. Hey, I haven't had one that hasn't been amazing. I've tried a fair few of their beers.
Yeah, and that was 6%. That honeycomb, it's
yeah,
can't even tell at all.
So yeah, it was definitely Satan is at their brewery, just brewing the tastiest beverages you've tasted.
And we've just, as Josh said, we've just cracked another one, the Sour Buffalo, which is also by Rocky Ridge.
So we'll drink those.
Coffee stout, but we'll give this we'll get into this and we'll let you know.
We'll talk about those ones at the end.
Shall we do some current events, some music current events? So NAMM was last week, or NAMM, however you want to say it, depending on your accent. I'm not even sure. A big hit was Jared Dines' 18-string guitar. Did you see the guitar?
Yeah, I did see it. It's fucking outrageous. I like when he got it, he didn't even know what to do with it. He's like looking at it going, this is awesome, but what the fuck do I do with it? Like, pretty much most guitarists, I mean, unless you're toasting a bass, you'd probably be thinking the same thing.
Even toasting would be like, what is this Frankenstein creature?
I like the story behind it too, you know, how it was like, I think he ordered one or something that was just a piece of shit from somehow, like it was 17 strings, and it fell apart 17. When he got it, and then he.
I'm not even sure that he got it. I think he ordered it from some guy in China that was making extended range guitars.
Yeah.
Who had apparently made a bunch before, and like seemed like a legit guy, and just never delivered. I don't think he ever got the guitar.
I can't remember. I thought it was like he got it and it was just fucked up, like fell to pieces. He was saying or something.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, Ormsby Guitars from Perth, actually.
Shout out to Ormsby. Sammy plays at Ormsby, so you'll see one in our video.
They started as like he was making, handmade custom guitars. He's been doing it for years, and they're phenomenal instruments. The only downside is it would take quite a long time to get your hands on one because he's making them by hand, and he had like one apprentice for ages, and now they do like a line of guitars where you can actually buy them in stores, and even those
I think they're assembled in Korea or something.
Korea, I'm pretty sure. Even those
by Kim Jong-un.
The only thing he assembles is nuclear weapons, so.
And Ormsby guitars.
That's why none of his nuclear weapons work, because he's making them himself.
Kim Jong-un's is just in cahoots with Ormsby, just assembling guitars. He's not that bad a guy. He actually assembles guitars as well as nuclear domination.
That's true. He makes a hell of a guitar. But this fucking guitar, man, like, there's videos of Jared, I guess, attempting to what you would call play it, and he has no idea what to do with it. It'd be interesting to see, because he'd never played it until the videos from Nam, so it'll be interesting to see when he posts a video of him once he's gotten used to it, and he'll make a song with it and shit just to see what he does with it.
Yeah, he reckons in a year. He said.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah, it's like the thing looks like a harp, eh?
Oh, it's so big. It's fucking 2 pieces of Tasmanian blackwood and 9 pieces of mahogany and ebony make up the neck.
So basically, like he cut down Sherwood Forest to make that fucking thing.
Yeah, that's fucking unbelievable.
Global warming, thanks to Ormsby.
the Ormsby logo on the headstock actually lights up. It's got LEDs in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's got his face on the
yeah, it has Jared Dines on it. Yeah, I saw that.
Face. If you haven't seen this thing, you got to YouTube it. It's like a fucking if you're sitting in front of a piano keys are not even as big as this thing. It's huge. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I can't wait to see someone actually play it, you know. Well, as much as you can play that thing. Yeah, maybe you have to lay it down and it'll just be a slide guitar or something.
All I could think of as I was watching him play it the whole time was like, fuck, I would hate to use that in the studio. You got to tune that bastard every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
But yeah, what did you have for current events?
Well, I saw today they released that on Netflix. Surprisingly, released that new Cloverfield prequel. It's called the Cloverfield Paradox.
Paradox.
Yeah, like that was like a surprise after the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, so they released that, which will be interesting to see, because I'll tell you something. That first one pissed me off.
Yeah.
Followed by the second one, like. Talk about honey dicking that, you know, about it's honey dicking to another level where you're like, because that first one, I was like, I just want to turn this off. It's fucking pissing me off. Yeah. And then you get the glimpse of the end and you're like, oh, it's getting fucking good. And then it ends and you're like, you're watching the credits roll down. You're like, you didn't do that to me, did you? And then I remember when Cloverfield Lane came out, I went to the movies and watched it, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about this shit. It's not a hand cam movie. It's like a legit, it's going to explain everything. Went and saw it. And the whole fucking movie was in like the basement. I was just sitting there going, oh, there's like an hour left. Shit, there's half an hour left. Haven't seen any aliens. Yeah, and then it's like the last 10 minutes. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, don't. Yeah. And I was just like, you've done it to me again. You fucking done it to me.
Yeah, well, I didn't even watch the second one. The first one annoyed me so much. It was just infuriating.
Yeah. Oh,
shitty fucking footage, and like in the trailer you see pretty much as much of the monster as you do in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck you, man.
And I swear, like, Netflix, if you've done it to me again, fuck you. In advance. I can guarantee it will be, though. It's too good to be true. It'll just explain nothing. And then I'll see an alien the last, like, 20 milliseconds, and I'll just be raging.
Stick to the formula. Seems to be working. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, well, it's like how many years and how many times can you honey dick people till everyone's just like, nah, I'm done. Like, kill yourself.
Maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
Social experiment to see how many honey dicks we can get away with.
Yeah, probably.
So next thing I saw, so the Grammys were last week, I guess. Was it last? Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk that a band called Code Orange would be, should win the Grammy. Mastodon ended up going on to win it. I think it was between Mastodon, Code Orange, Meshuggah, and one other band. But yeah, Mastodon ended up winning, but a lot of people felt like Code Orange should have, and Alan Ashby from Of Mice and Men took to Twitter and he wrote, if Code Orange should have won a Grammy, then Norma Jean should have won a Grammy back in the day, ? Seems pretty innocent.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. But then Code Orange respond like a couple of hours later with 2 words. All they said was, eat shit.
Fucking hell, yeah. Yeah.
How's the balls on him, eh? His up and coming band just starting to make it big and just eat shit to from over.
I haven't even heard Code Orange yet, but I'm gonna have to go check them out, and I fucking love them already for that. That's just what are you gonna do? Eh? It's just like
what do you even say back to that? Yeah. Apparently, it's he elaborates a bit in another tweet that he was watching them side of the stage, and the bass player he being Alan from Of Mice and Men, was watching Code Orange on the side of the stage, and apparently Code Orange's bass player like threw his bass and broke it and like screamed at some guy that Alan Ashby knows to get him a new one, so he was just sticking up for him. So he tweets that in reply to Code Orange saying, your bass player was a dickhead to my mate, I'm just sticking up for him. All they said again, 2 words. Keep talking.
Just in that position, they just don't care. I think the bass player he's the new vocalist for Of Mice and Men, wasn't he? I was listening to, is he?
This guy that just got eat shitted on Twitter.
Yeah, what's his name?
It was Alan Ashby.
Okay, he's not the new. I don't think.
I'm pretty sure he's the guitarist.
You what?
I'm pretty sure Alan Ashby's the guitarist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So their bass player's the singer now. You replaced the...
Oh, okay, so they just lost a member in the bass player.
Yeah, he had a lot of health problems, so he ended up leaving. And they didn't want to replace him, so they kept the...
that sucks. It's never good when you see people especially defy the odds and make it in a band as big as Of Mice and Men, and then you got to step down for health problems.
Yeah, they were huge, and also that new album's a cracker too. I actually heard it; it's pretty good.
Well, everybody on Twitter would disagree with you. They're just shitting on Of Mice and Men's new album now because Code Orange wrecked him. I haven't heard it, so I don't.
Oh no! So I heard a couple songs. It sounds pretty good. Yeah.
It's such a ballsy response from Of Mice and Men, are a huge band. People know the name. And these guys are virtually nobody. They're nominated for a Grammy, so they're doing well, but you know, they're not huge and just, you know, how's the balls eat
I
shit.
fucking love that though, because there's not enough of that now, you know, like everyone just is trying to be too PC and laying down and dying. Like I love someone just goes, go fuck yourself. Like there's just nothing better than that. So Code
great,
Orange, you fucking legends. I'm definitely got to check it.
I actually saw it. Like I very rarely look at Twitter. I like look at Facebook and Instagram, but sometimes I'll open Twitter and it just happened to be at the right time. It was like blowing up, and I actually saw it in my feed. I was just lost today. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, that has to be the toasting of the week, eh?
In 2 words.
Maybe that could be a segment too, eh? Just the smackdown of the week.
What's the next one that you had?
I just
Warped Tour.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about Warped Tour a bit. That's been some big news, but I mean, it doesn't really affect our country as such. But I think everyone that grew up on that, you know, that like into this music, heavy music, punk rock, whatever, that like it's been a big part of like that music scene, and everyone dreamed of going to a Warped Tour or you know, I've been to a few myself. I went last year, which was pretty cool. But yeah, they just dropped I think the dates, and they're going to drop the lineup soon. But yeah, it's the last full tour ever. So
full, yeah. So there is still going to be a Warped Tour by the sounds of it. I think the guy who's organising it,
Kevin Lyman.
Yeah, he said that this will be the last year that Warped Tour exists in this form. So it's going to change. Likely meaning it's not going to be every state anymore.
They'll probably just do the big cities or...
Yeah, there'll still be a big tour. There's still going to be a lot of dates. Like, there's a shitload of places to play in America.
I just like it's so sad because like you hear all the stories of Warped Tour, you know, playing Warped Tour, and it just sounds fucking amazing. You know, it's like everyone calls it the, you know, boot camp for bands or whatever, but there's just so much hangs. Yeah. I was like that was all. I love the hangs there. Eh?
Well, how long is I
think it's 2 months, two solid months. Dude, I think so.
That's a lot of fucking partying.
Oh man, like
we did like 5 days for New Year's Eve, and I was fucked after that.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing you might notice about the Light of the Dark. We do like to fucking party. And we'll bring the party if invited, so...
That's one thing we've got figured out is partying.
Yeah, we do that pretty well. and like, yeah, just, I mean, that was like man, it's a childhood dream to even go to one. And, you know, I've been to a bunch over in the States, and like I said, I went last year. And that was funny as we were talking about, Strung Out posted it. We were in Vegas, and we were sitting in the fucking pools, like a man-made beach at the Hard Rock, and they had a stage that was actually just right on the edge of this like man-made beach. It was like on the edge of the water, and there was a fucking circle pit and it was like 47 degrees that day. So me and the boys were like, we're not going anywhere. Sitting in that fucking pool, drinking all day. Like we went out for a bit, but I saw a video Strung Out posted later, and we were all in the background as he's walking through the water and that playing. But man, that was such a fucking cool setup for a show. Hey, like
that's really cool. That's something we don't have anything like. For us to hear that there's a fucking pool at a gig, that's like crazy talk to us.
Yeah, hey Australia, stop being so fucking strict. Let us live our lives. Eh?
What was your what would you say was the best band you saw at Warped?
Oh, I'd have to say 2 because I can't decide, but Counterparts and After the Burial just fucking amazing.
They're
those two
good picks, yeah.
Yeah, I happened to be, because it was just too fucking hot, and these stages were in the middle of the car park, and we were just literally drilling booze in the pool all day. And I thought, we went to get some cigarettes, and me and Vardy, we walk out, Counterparts are playing, like just start, so we caught their set. I hadn't seen Counterparts, I wanted to see them for a while. They were fucking amazing, like such a good live band. If you haven't seen them, they're actually coming to Perth.
Ah, really?
Yeah, Counterparts are coming here. It's a Friday show too, so...
Oh, shit. They have their last album, the black and white one. I can't think of what it's called now.
Difference between Hell and Home?
I might be thinking of Monuments, actually. That's the problem with a lot of these like gent-influenced bands is they have all those one-word names, and they kind of don't really stand out. You know, like monuments, structures, vultures, counterparts. It all.
That syllable.
Yeah, like just the one word. Yeah, I'm thinking of. No, it's monuments.
Counterparts.
So I'm thinking of monuments. Shout out to the latest Monuments album, the Amanuensis. The Amanuensis is ridiculous if you want to check that out. I don't think I've heard Counterparts actually.
Man, they are like I love that band. They're great. Hey, like as far as melodic hardcore goes.
That's right.
But they're quite tech for melodic hardcore. Yeah. The new album's a little more straight up, but like their rhythms and stuff are just they're quite tech. But they're coming with Stray from the Path. It's on April the 13th. They're playing at Amplify, so it's a Friday night, Friday the 13th.
Oi.
It is.
Oi.
Fuck, that's going to be a show to go to. So get down there.
If you're superstitious, stay at home and lock your basement up and hide.
Yeah, but if you love Satan and Counterparts, get down there. We'll worship
some heavy metal.
But that'll be a sick show. Yeah, they were just fucking like great at Warped Tour. And after the burial, man, like as always, just tight as fuck.
Their reputation precedes them. After the burial are ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and they just whoever does the sound, like Warped Tour, the ones I've been to anyway, always have great sound.
I'm sure every band has their own sound guy, but yeah.
Just the set, but that man, like
just the setup and the production value, I guess, like what goes into that compared to what goes into the shit we have down here. Yeah, because we had Soundwave, but it's like compare the money they're making off vans to Soundwave. I'm sure it's a joke. It's 2 months of touring. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars, surely. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see because it's not a huge tour either.
Yeah, but just the volume.
Or the shows.
There's probably a huge cost in setting up that many shows, but you would think it'd be pretty frivolous.
Yeah, you think so. It's just, but yeah, like I was saying, it's just it's a shame. I suppose it would be cool if maybe passed the torch and it kept going, but who knows? We'll be probably talking about it over the next in the next half a year a fair bit because it's a big thing in our scene. So we'll be talking about the developments and what's happening, and hopefully we'll see it kick on with something pretty cool in the coming years.
Well, I always feel like I always try not to feel sad when shit like that ends because you always think like something will come up and replace it because if there's demand for it, the hole in the market gets filled.
It's just like Soundwave.
I know, but that's what I was getting at. Yeah. When Soundwave ended, I was like, that really sucks. I've been going to Soundwave for like 6 years or however long it was. I don't want it to end. But I was like, there's such a demand for heavy music because you go to Soundwave, there's so many fucking people there. There's obviously a demand for it. And I was like, something else will come along and take its place. Still waiting.
Yeah. Hey, AJ Matter.
Still waiting. Sort it out. Hey, sort it out.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Nothing down here.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's as barren as the center of Australia down here. The music scene, there's no big tours.
Yeah. Hey, Soundwave, I heard that Kalgoorlie's getting more tours now.
Well, since we got none and Kalgoorlie got none, I think we're on par.
Yeah.
We had, so we got, one thing we're going to do is wank of the week. We're just going to talk about someone who made an absolute twat of themselves in the music scene, whether it's on Twitter or live. Like an example would be from a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw Josh Home from
that cunt is always making a vlog of himself.
He just kicked that chick in the head, the photographer.
He's a fucking idiot.
And there's actually video footage of him doing it, right? And she's just doing her job, taking photos, whatever. She's down in front of the stage. He kicks something near her, and then he stretches his leg right out and almost falls over to kick her in the fucking face. He kicked her. She had to go to hospital because
Oh, really?
Yeah, the camera smashed her in the head.
What a fucking idiot.
And then he posted this fucking just absolutely insincere apology on Facebook.
Really?
It was, I forget what he said, but you're reading it and you can see him doing air fucking wanking signs.
He just seems like such a peanut. He was on Triple J one time and the doctor was interviewing him, and like they did that Friday fuckwit thing, and he nominated him for it, and he got so butthurt, man. He literally, so he keeps talking, and like, because he said that he stood his friend up for an interview earlier on the day, so he's gonna nominate him for the Friday fuckwit or something. So he's like, he's done that, and then he's like, keeps talking, keeps trying to go on the interview, and he's like, yeah, and then he goes, hey, hang on, what was that fuckwit thing? You know, what was that? No, and then he's like, that was fucking bull, and he like got full devastated
Really?
and fired up, and then dropped the mic and left, and the doctor was just like, oh.
Wow.
Oh man, I was can take a joke apparently.
Well, I think that's a little bit cultural. I don't think Americans have the same humor as Aussies.
No, Americans like to pull the piss. They're good.
They always seem a little bit more sensitive though.
When you're there, they'll fucking get involved though.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll just cover just like people being fucking knobs each week. It'll make us feel better about ourselves and you about yours, I'm sure.
so
this week,
the first one.
Wank of the Week #1. We have the former Machine Head bassist, Adam Deuce. So Adam was kicked out of Machine Head. Don't actually remember why, but he was kicked out. This was quite a while ago, probably 5...
When was it? Sometime AD?
Yeah, well, they're old as fuck. He's kicked out about 5 years ago, I think. And no one's heard from this guy in 5 years. He dropped off the radar because he never wrote anything in Machine Head. He never had side projects. He was just a very typical, air quotes, bass player. You know, people say fucking bass player's a loser, blah. And then Machine Head released this album. New album came out on the 28th, I think it was, of January. No, sorry, it was Australia Day. It was the 26th, yeah. On the Friday, they dropped this new album. And they posted on their Facebook a link to, you know, all the places you can get the album and a picture of them, like a promo shot, and they're all wearing white, like ripped up white denim. And I thought it looked cool. I thought it was cool. I was like, that's a cool photo. You know, they're trying to stay contemporary, you know, denim's in, blah, blah, all that shit. Scroll down and you'll find a comment from old Adam Deuce. Comes out of the shadows from his 5-year hiatus. Bear in mind, no one's heard of this man for 5 years. And this is how he introduces himself in the comments. Not that I've heard any of this fuckery, nor have I listened to one song written since I left, as I couldn't be bothered, but these outfits look gay as fuck. In my opinion, I stayed with this outfit one too many records. I knew the narcissist was going to crash the ship just watching the way he approached Locust.
Oh, fuck. Do you get any more butthurt, hey? Like,
just sounds like a 12-year-old kid who's, you know, when you're like, not even 12, maybe like 6 or 7, and one of your friends is like, I don't want to be friends with you because you're mean. It's essentially what he's just done.
I love it that he's also been lurking in the shadows for 5 years, just seething.
That's what makes
clearly.
it so weird. He's like, it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Year 54 years old, man. He's old.
Fucking hell.
I don't think he's quite 54. I exaggerated, but he's fucking old. He's like, he's at least 45.
What's his name?
Adam Deuce. Adam Deuce. Sort your fucking life out.
Yeah, mate. Adam Deuce. Go and get some other hobby. Hey, start another band. You can do it.
And not only that, these outfits look gay as fuck.
Yeah.
And he's capitalized gay, and he wrote as fuck AF. So he's obviously got a daughter or something. He's been looking at her Facebook to pick up the AF
Yeah, he's
abbreviation.
definitely down.
I just feel sorry for any children being raised by this man at this point. Just unbelievable. You are the wank of the week, Adam.
Congratulations, sir.
#1.
Oh, man, yeah, that's fucking sad, really, isn't it?
Just, you're a grown man.
It would have just been awesome if they also were like, hey, Adam, eat shit. Maybe get Code Orange in there.
Eat shit, stir him up, and then the second post, he would just post a wall and then keep talking. But we've also got not really a review, so we're going to try and do like some local music reviews. This week we didn't get enough time for us to both to go balls deep on one. So I've just picked one that I've been spinning quite a bit. It's from a band that's been around for quite a while. They were a band when I was in Reflections of Ruin approximately 5 years ago. I think this album has taken them 5 or 6 years. It's Xenobiotic, and the album is called Prometheus. I would say it's a album that, if you're into things like Die Hard is Murder, particularly Hate era Die Hard is Murder, or Fit for an Autopsy, it's something you'd really get into. It's that it's death metal, but it's more modern. It's got like a deathcore tinge to it. It's just got this really cool blackened vibe to it, and it's got some cool just ideas on it. It's also got Scott Kay from Voyager, who are one of Perth's best bands. They are just phenomenal musicians, and they are huge in the prog scene. Scott Kay does a guest solo on one of the tracks, and you can pick it up on Bandcamp. I think it's $10. It's somewhere around there. It's like $7, $8, $9, $10, something like that. But they've got packages as well. They've got some vinyl and some shirts and stuff. And they actually have an EP launch coming soon, and they're bringing over a band that will blow your fucking balls off, called Falsifer. Now, Falsifer are from Adelaide in South Australia, and you'll hear them, and you'll be like, damn, that is fucking heavy, and their vocalist is ridiculous. And then you will discover that their vocalist is a female. She's this blonde girl with Satan in her throat. She actually has Satan in her throat. She's an incredible vocalist, and they're a good band, and it's going to be an awesome album launch. It's March. I'm just trying to find it here. I fucking lost it because I'm an absolute asshole. Xenobiotic. Yeah, so Prometheus album launch 23rd of February, so it's 2 weeks away. And it's at Badlands, which is a sick place. I really like Badlands.
Yeah, it is. It's a great venue, hey.
It's when you get in there, like I've heard people talk about it, and no one ever said to me, yeah, it's a cave inside. And then I got there, and there's like stalagmites and stalactites and shit. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Well, it used to be Taville's pad, so it was like Satan's house. It was that setting. So
okay, right.
Yeah, and then they never changed the inside. They just turned it into a venue. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a fucking cool venue, and the last time I went there, it sounded amazing in there, like the best sounding venue I've been to in a long time. And to top it all off, they've got my favourite beer on tap, Gage Rhodes' Atomic Ale.
There you go.
It's going to be a good night. Otherwise, we've got a couple of upcoming shows in Perth.
There's a few good ones happening this week, actually, isn't there?
Yeah, so this week I think we've got one.
I think tonight, like, too late anyway by the time you hear this, but Cancer Bats are playing tonight with Frank Carter.
Yep.
And then on Wednesday we got Rise Against, so it's a pretty big week. And then Thursday also we got We the Kings, so like a bunch of genres there covered, but there's some like pretty good show. I think Manchester Orchestra are playing as well.
Yeah, there's a gig at last night as well, Conformer headlining. I've forgotten who's playing. But yeah, so there's a bunch of options this week. I'm not sure when this will blast out. But if it gets out in time, look them up, check it out. There's a bunch of shit going on.
And if not, you should have been there anyway.
Yeah,
But it's a week of fucking good gigs, you know. Who says Perth doesn't get gigs? We do.
Well, yeah, everyone's always complaining, and here we are. There's chockers this week.
Yeah.
And next week we've got, this might be the gig of the year. I think it's early to call, but this might be the show of the year.
It's going to be top 5.
It's got to be.
It's fucking absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
So we've got Die Art, who come to Perth pretty often, actually. They're pretty legit to Perth.
Yeah, they played at Badlands last time. So.
Yeah, they come a lot, and they're always hell cheap, too, for some reason. Last time I saw them, it was $20.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, last night, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was that the one at Capital?
Yeah, it was $20.
I saw that, yeah.
It's fucking really cheap. But yeah, so we've got Die Art and Imua. Like that's a pretty big show.
And then, not only
but
that,
also we've got Fit for an Autopsy and Justice for the Damned. And I've seen Die Art and Imua already, so I mean I'm excited for that. But
yeah, I've seen both of them.
I'm so excited to see Fit for an Autopsy.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
That album they dropped last year was just next level. It's so fucking good.
It was, hey, it was quite heavy in a different way. It was fucking brilliant.
It was like heavy, but there was no breakdowns and no like dissonant chords. Or it was just like, it was just fucking heavy in a different way. And
Straight up.
Yeah, it had a really unique sound. It's a great album. The Black Mammoth, I think, was that was a standout
song, wasn't it? That chorus was huge.
Yeah, and the intro track as well. About the Hydra, I think it's called Hydra.
Yeah. That was a cracker.
Yeah.
I saw Imua at Warped Tour with the new lineup, and they sounded fucking heavy. They were really impressive.
Yeah, well, they jacked all the guys from Tony Tap Dance.
Danza,
yeah, Tony Tap Dance Extravaganza.
Oh, is it? Yeah, Tony Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and like
Tony Romers, all the waiters from Tony Romers just jacked it, mate. Jacked them off. He's like, hey, I need new band members. Just going to go into Tony Romers and jack these waiters off real quick. Has nothing to do with getting new band members.
Whoever's got the most delicious dick gets the job.
Like, I can't even play guitar. He was like, I didn't ask you to be in a fucking band. I just want to jerk you off, cunt.
Yeah, I think his name's Frankie, the dude from Mule, the main, the vocalist, just kicked everyone the fuck out and was like, nah, need a new band.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
I just need a new band. See ya. And,
Bye.
I mean, I never hated Mule, but I was always kind of like, I didn't mind them. They were okay. They were just okay to me. Just like beat down deathcore.
Yeah.
And then they got these new guys in and I was like, what the fuck happened? This album's amazing. And yeah, so it's going to be a fucking awesome show. It's at the Rosemount too, which has just had the most epic renovation.
It has.
It's if you've been to the Rosemount before, you'll remember it was a bit awkward. They had a stage that was like under some stairs at one point in one room, and then in the other side of the bar they had like this awkward corner stage with a pole right in the middle, kind of like Amplifier's pole.
Yeah. No, they had that fucking bar like in the middle of the room, and then you were sort of watching the band in the corner of the room.
Yeah, so half the room essentially was unusable because the bar like separated the room into two.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like square. It's a long square or rectangle. Long rectangle. It's all these beautiful hardwood floors. The bar's been moved to the side, so you've actually got like a whole wall of bar. So it's hell easy to get a drink. The band plays, straight across the back wall like you want, just a straight, not a weird fucking corner stage. And it sounds fucking great in there.
Yeah,
it's
really
in a good
impressive.
spot. It's like 5 minutes from the city. It's a fucking good spot now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Great beer garden.
Yeah,
it's actually always a good
awesome
night there.
Yeah, it's a good venue. It's weird because it's hard to get people to come out of the city, even though it's right there.
Yeah, well, if you walk from the center of the city, it's gonna be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe half hour. No, it'd be about half hour walk.
Yeah, but Uber's around now. It's like $10 in an Uber. Yeah, it's been like that forever because the Civic's another one. The back room at the Civic is a great place, great spot to play. It sounds awesome in there.
Yeah,
it's huge. Like you can get we did a EP launch show and it fits fucking heaps of people, but it's just not in the city and people don't care.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Civic, actually, this could be why people don't care.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, hey. Fucking hell.
This dude apparently ordered a fucking burger. Oh, my God. And he bites into this fucking thing and he's like, I think in the interview he said it was too chewy. He couldn't pull it apart. Like, you bite into a burger and it pulls away. He was like, I couldn't pull it apart. And he fucking looks down into this burger.
And Splinter from the Ninja Turtles is fucking in his burger.
Master fucking Splinter has carked it in his burger. Just the filthiest, hairiest rat of all time.
And it was a big, it was a full size. It was like the size of the fucking burger.
It was just, I'm pretty sure it was a mouse, not a rat, but it was so disgusting. And then the Civic are trying to claim that he made it up, and there's, you know, people defending the Civic on the page, like, you know, any chef would have had to put salad on that at the end. There's no way a mouse could just sneak in and die. And I was like, well, so what you're saying is someone put that there on purpose.
Yeah. Maybe the guy was being a cunt. And they were like,
trying to say he
have a mouse burger, dickhead.
Yeah, the Civic's trying to say, no, he made it up. And yeah, that was disgusting. That's probably why people don't go there for gigs.
Yeah. The microphones are just rats. You're just singing into a fucking rat. Hey, can you turn that rat up?
Shoot them off.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I guess we'll wrap this shit up.
Before we go, we'll talk about this one last beer we had quickly.
Yes.
Sour Buffalo. What the actual fuck is going on here? It's what do they call it on there?
Lactose infused coffee stout.
Yeah, so what it was is apparently they were brewing a golden ale and something, it went sour, something happened in the brewing. And then someone must have tasted it and gone, oh, this is one of the tastiest beers going around. So it's like a sour beer, like it tastes like a, you know, like quite a stand, but it's got this coffee aftertaste that almost neutralizes that real tartness of it, and it's a bit creamy as well, and it just tastes amazing. And that's the only run they're doing. Hey, they're not going to do unless, you know, hopefully they do more, but apparently what's around now is all it's going to be. So
yeah, it says here that it was made in collaboration with the Margaret River Roasting Company.
Yeah,
which I guess by the sound of it, they made the coffee.
That's actually one of my mates, the Margaret that does that, Margaret River, Isaac. Yeah, that's what right. He's involved there. They're doing coffees in Perth as well at the Mad Dog's Jungle Bar. So get down there and
Mad Dog's Jungle Bar.
Yeah.
Mad Dog from Midland.
Yeah, Mad Dog's there. But yeah, get down there and try some of their coffee. They're actually brilliant coffee if you're into it. Milligan and Hay Street on the corner there.
The first time I opened this beer, I actually said, what in the actual fuck is this witchcraft? It's just, it's like nothing you've ever tasted. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Us telling you that it's a sour beer with coffee flavor just makes it sound shit, honestly. You have to try it.
Yeah,
and, you know, it's a limited run, like you said. It was actually an accident, and it's one of the best beers I've ever had.
If you see any of them, grab a can, at least grab one and try it, because it is fucking nice. And again, Rocky Ridge, like, they are just up there. In my eyes, they're one of the best breweries in Australia right now. Their beers are just, you know, I can't fault them. Every single one I tried. You're waiting. They released a limited one the other day called Peach Invasion. Glorious.
Oh, that one's ridiculous. That one. We went to Main Liquor on Great Eastern Highway in I think it's in Belmont or Ascot, somewhere around there. And you can only buy 2 cans per person, because it's, again, a limited run, which I don't fucking understand. If you make a great beer, hey, make more of it. Don't stop fucking honey dicking us.
Yeah, at least have it around for the summer. You don't go, hey, one of the tastiest beers you've tasted, and you're having 1 can of it. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's 2 cans per person. Like, would have bought a couple of cartons if possible. It's but that's another one. Peach beer doesn't sound great. Trust me, you try it, you shoot a load.
Yeah.
Every sip is
You want to take a spare pair of jocks with you.
Yeah, if you've got infertility problems, go get one of those beers and you'll load your fucking jocks up real quick.
You'll be ringing them out. But yeah, big ups to them. Try Rocky Ridge. If you see any of their beers, just get one and drink it. You're not going to be disappointed.
Yep.
But also, every week we're gonna leave you with a song. What we've been listening to. So,
not always a song. Sometimes it'll be an album. Might be a song. Might be might be a movie. Some weeks it's going to be whatever we feel like, really.
Yeah, just our pick of the week.
Yeah, so we'll try and do local stuff when we can get to it. At this point, we didn't have time to go through that many local things, but we're hoping we'll get some submissions for next week. I've already got quite a few, actually, and we'll go through them and pick some good local shit and. But this week we've got some more well-known bands. So if you want to go first.
Yeah, my pick of the week is going to they're one of my favourite bands, but The Dangerous Summer released their long-awaited comeback album, and the song "Live Forever" on there is fucking awesome.
Comeback.
Yeah, comeback. But yeah, they are fucking amazing. Like, check them out. They're not heavy, but they are fucking brilliant. So
yeah, it's I think I described it to you when you said to check it out. That it was like, because it's not heavy at all.
They're in vein of Jimmy Eat World, bands like that.
And I think I described it to you as Coldplay if Coldplay wasn't shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it might even be offensive to compare them to Coldplay, but it's like, got those delayed guitars and that really melancholy feel.
Yeah,
it's a great
and those
album.
really heartfelt like songs. You know, like the lyrics are really well written, really nostalgic, huge build ups.
Incredible voice.
Yeah, the dude's voice just gets better every year. It's such a good album. Check it out. But yeah, that song, "Live Forever," is my pick so far. I love that song.
What's the album called?
It's self-titled, that one, yeah.
It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all that shit.
Yeah. And fucking welcome back to that band as well.
Welcome back. How long they been off?
2013, I think they hung up their boots, so a few years. I thought they were done. I was devastated. I fucking loved that. I swear they're one band. I've thrashed their albums so fucking much, hundreds of times, and they never get old to me, so they're...
How do you just casually take 5 years off and come back with an album like that?
Man, that like some crazy shit went on. Like, their guitarist went to prison. Like, they had a real falling out, the singer and the guitarist, and he went to prison for some like burglary or some shit.
Jesus.
So yeah, they've reformed without him, and
yeah, right.
I think that left a bit of a bitter taste for a bit, but now they're back together, and
yeah, I can see why.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your pick?
Mine's a bit older, actually. It came out last year. It's not as new, but I've been, as we talked about earlier, I've been working on our single all week, just staring at grids and MIDI patterns, and just didn't want to hear music when I was done with that.
I've seen it in first person. His eyes are grids now.
At one point, I felt like I could hear the metronome while I was sleeping. But no, I've been working out to "Feels Good" by Volumes. Just been going on runs and just playing that on repeat. But I've been getting into their other stuff as well. There's one band that, like, you know, people tell you, oh, you got to check this band out, they're amazing, and then someone else tells you the same thing, and then someone else, and then these are all people that you like know are into music that's usually really good and they have good taste in music. And that happened to me, and I checked them out, and I didn't really like them for whatever reason. I was like, oh, they're obviously good, but it didn't click. And then I started listening to "Feels Good" by Volumes off the newest album called "Different Animals," and it just all fell into place. Like I was saying earlier with Illyria's single "Swan Song," it just all fell into place, and then their whole discography started making sense. And so I've just been smashing Volumes.
Yeah, it's a big chorus in that song.
Yeah, "Feels Good" in particular. It has one of the best choruses. It's just like this big reverby, massive choir chorus. It just is an instant. It's very poppy.
Yeah, it's very anthem.
Yeah, like you can hear that. You just kind of wish you were in the crowd at the show already, because you could just tell it would be amazing live.
Yeah.
I've been smashing that, and that's also available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that crap. So
all the music platforms.
So yeah, next week, this week, we've got a very special guest coming. He's going to be our first guest. He's a close friend of ours.
Our boy Drew from Make Way for Man.
That's it, our boy Drew Shepherd. He's the lead guitarist and sort of the mastermind from behind Make Way for Man. If you haven't heard of Make Way for Man and you live in Perth, for sure get out of the rock you've been hiding under, because they just...
Pretty much, yeah.
About, it was like a year or so ago, they just dropped this fucking... this EP is so crazy. And
if you play guitar and you want to feel shit about yourself,
if you're a vocalist, you want to feel shit about, like, if you're a bass player and you want to feel shit, like, the whole band is crazy. And it's like that metalcore-y, genty, Like I would put them next to like Veil of Maya's latest stuff.
Yeah,
or like the
Periphery,
Matriarch.
Yeah.
Veil of Maya era. It's like metalcore gent with those big choruses and the cleans. And yeah, they're an awesome band and Drew's an awesome guy. So really looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll bring that out. That'll drop sometime Friday or Saturday, something like that. And we'll see you then. Alrighty. Thanks for listening. That's the first episode done.
Thanks for getting DP'd with us.
What was that? I didn't hear that.
I don't know. I got a little close to the microphone.
DP'd? What does DP'd mean?
DP?
Direct podcast?
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's
direct pod.
That's what I thought.
Double direct podcast penetration.
Oh, okay. So I should Google DP'd?
Yeah. Google
okay,
D.
Cool.
I'm sure if you put www.iwannagetdp.com, our website pops up.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you next week, guys.